was cool. Okay, 30 seconds. All right, here we go. Okay, give me dragons. Give me big booba Alexstrasza. It's okay. They need to do something crazy. I'll chip in here. They need to do something absolutely crazy. They need to like take the foundation and just throw it away. And like this is the new WoW. They need to like go from the bottom. Okay, let's go. If the volume is low, let me know.
You inspire me.
Who cares about Big Booba Rotting Elf? Embrace Dreadlord Jaina.
Is the volume? I'll raise the volume a bit.
For the Alliance!
That's better, right? Yeah, sure. Hello. Okay. Let's go. Okay.
For Azure!
Yeah. We've heard this way too many times. Okay, now show me.
Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazacostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. But first I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year, and especially our community council. You've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently
There was a lot of
and
feedback.
what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
No listening.
I mean, really, for Shadowlands in particular, the story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community. And it's shaped by what we've been hearing from them and us realizing as a team that we just collectively needed to do a better job of making sure the community felt heard. And so that led us to the changes we made in 9.15, but also really re-examining some of the assumptions and foundations of World of Warcraft about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems. And I think 9.15 represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play
the
it.
latest patch. I quit.
And we really built our Eternity's End content update from the ground up around those principles.
For the first time
What are
ever,
some
I
of the
quit in
things that the
Shadowlands.
community said that influenced your
For the first time
decisions
since
for
DBC.
Eternity's End?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the course of 9.15 into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as Classic evolves.
World of Warcraft
Yeah,
has always been
guide you. You
about
gave them
the world
level
and
boost,
the players
damn
that
it.
inhabit it. And we are, in a lot of ways, curators and caretakers
The
of
community
that
did not
journey
guide
and
you
of that
towards
experience.
that.
And so once this Classic community formed and grew, we had to listen to them.
It's this tide of listening to the community and paying attention to what is a good experience for our players now. And where we really saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery realm, which is a season of
I
fresh
didn't
start
even try that.
Classic. And initially we were talking about it like it was going to be like a fresh start. Let's try this
I didn't even
experiment
try
in a
Season of
season. It'll
Mastery.
be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and turned, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore
Soul of
mode
Iron is
that
still
we've
a good
seen
idea.
communities built around.
Yeah.
Lots of,
Hello, Willie.
thrilling
I muted
victory and
bits
painful
just for
defeat.
now.
5 hours. I made it 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
but
it
fishing
continues.
streams.
Like Burning Crusade Classic, we wanted to balance the Paladin seals between Horde and Alliance, so we made an addition
they are
there.
gonna announce
We wouldn't have gotten there
Wrath of the
without
Lich
the
King Classic.
community's input.
No, first
So,
Sunwell.
Influence the community. You've got another update and pretty significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in
Yeah,
9.25. which is on a public test ROM now as a big
Ian,
centerpiece.
cross faction. You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Yeah, it's something. It was not
They
an
need
easily
to
made
do
decision
that
by any
for the
means,
next
you know,
expansion.
and I think this is another one of those areas where really we try to
No
take
factions.
to heart community feedback and requests and ask ourselves as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game. You know, I think players desire to play with their friends who might prefer a different faction, or to play with the faction that they more closely identify with, even though
It's
their
kind of
raid
like
group is elsewhere.
haphazardly
It's really
done,
important
I
for
don't
me.
know.
I play a lot of alts, and I love absorbing the story for each race, and having that ability to play with all of my friends across factions is fantastic.
New
At the end
class
of
will
the
be
day,
good though, finally.
The battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction.
Not
I think
wrong.
there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that
Not wrong.
while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew had a max level character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, you know, with these,
It
these
sounds like they are
cross-faction
playing
groups,
their
many of them
own
are going
game,
to be
and I don't
diving
trust
into
that.
something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a season 4. Kind of a remix, a bit of a greatest hits, revisiting all of our raid zones across the expansion, bringing in some familiar older favorites into the Mythic Plus rotation. And you know, we recognize this is kind of a closing chapter, a little bit of a
Sure,
send-off
sure.
to Shadowlands. As everyone gets ready for what
Garrosh
happens
is actually
next,
my
what
favorite
will come next,
character.
want to
Wow.
give a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
They didn't reveal
Really
anything
cool
yet.
stuff.
They are just like
for
recapping what they
my
did
WoW
recently.
players. I'm super
It's
excited
just
about the
recapping.
gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some
Also,
of those,
yeah.
those awesome raids.
There's a
Closing
lot
chapter
to
of
explore.
Shadowlands.
Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth.
Yes,
We're
dragons.
going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans of Azeroth for a long time.
Dragons.
This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado,
Dragons.
let's watch the cinematic.
Cinematic, let's go! Okay. Please don't be bad. Dragons. Alex Straza, first one. Boom! Dragon, big booba! Come on. I don't care about big booba, but that's what I'm expecting. Dragon. No, it's Shadowlands.
The world has been sundered.
Sundering!
It cries out in pain.
Interesting.
We must go to its aid.
Oh, is that Ulduar?
We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
Yeah, the Watchers. That's, yeah. Titans. Titans? Not bad so far, I'm fine with this.
Let the land slumber, hidden, even from our own eyes.
Oh, so a new island.
You will feel our return in the waking of the land.
Huh.
Then, you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
Not too bad so far. Not too bad so far. And now they reawaken, right? Poof. Oh. Now they do. The sound, that's Ohn'ahran. That's Ohn'ahran from Classic. Okay, that's actually cool. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's actually cool. But why would it reawaken now? What happened? It wasn't even the Blade of Targaras, was it? Because that blade has been in Silithus for a while now. Those cinematics are still really good. You're right, yeah. Mystery, alright. Oh no, no Magni! No Magni! We must heal her wounds! Champion! Scorpion. Okay. Ooh. That was like the Titan Watcher. That's cool. Oh yeah, he must light the beacon. That's what he's doing. So this is gonna be like the hero, maybe? Like the last Watcher? This is gonna be the Magni, probably. It's gonna be like the last Watcher who survived on the island. It's gonna be, oh, we must light the path, right? Oh, does he die? I thought he would be a friend. Oh, it's dragons. Oh, it's dragons. Is it gonna be the Dragon Isles then? Because the Dragon Isles were hidden then. That was Maligos. That was Dormu. Oh, is Ysera back? I don't even know how her storyline ended in Shadowlands. I know she died. I don't know if they resurrected her.
The world is healing,
Hell yeah, not Dormu.
but her fate is yet uncertain.
They are talking about the soul. I don't like the storyline with the world soul.
Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again.
This looks pretty cool
Here,
though.
the new age of dragons shall begin.
Yes, so leaks were true. Leaks were true, Dragonflight. It's kind of like...
Dragons!
Dragons.
This is so cool.
No one saw it coming.
No one saw it
Okay, yeah,
coming.
sure.
Carefully kept
Sure.
secret. But seriously, I mean,
We don't know who the
what
bad
did
guy
we just
is.
see there?
And
The
that's bad.
awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons.
We
the
don't know who
dawn
the
of
bad
new
guy
age.
is, and that's what I hate.
Right, we've seen Rathian searching for his father's
Yeah, I
legacy,
know
searching
about
for the
that.
Dragon
We just
Isles.
don't know
There's a
who's the
reason
bad
why he hasn't
guy
been able
again.
to find them until now.
Is it gonna be
beacon
Galakrond?
going off. Is
I want
that
Galakrond.
summoning the dragons?
It is removing the
that
concealment that
guy.
had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume.
Why?
pretty
What
good
happened? Why did
variety
they
of
reawaken?
locales within the Dragon Isles. It's
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter
Leveling.
zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit
New
about
starting
how the
zone?
team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The Dragon Isles are a place that is
Wait, starting
lush,
zone?
primal, bursting with
So a new
elemental energy.
race?
As Azeroth herself reawakens, those primal forces are
They
expressed
said
throughout the
starting
environment,
zone.
whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity,
A
whether it's
new
the icy wastes of the Azure span.
race?
And each one of those has a connection to a Dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing
I've been
place
playing
for
WoW
players
for
to arrive
20
at and
years,
explore.
probably.
all right. You know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay,
It's-
so...
yeah, it's 20 years
Can
now,
I
I
be a
believe.
dragon?
Let's start getting into some features here and what Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place.
Since the start of
So
TBC.
first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race, the Dracthyr race.
Whoa! Okay.
This is a Draken and
Oh.
Draconic race,
Okay.
but dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes can they be?
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes.
Yes, that does
and so
not
what we're
fit.
doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft and not just an allied race is something that we don't do lightly. But telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons,
What?
felt like the perfect time for it. So if you are a Dracthyr, you will be the Evoker class. Dracthyr can only be Evokers, Evokers can only be Dracthyr. And the reason why only a Dracthyr could be an Evoker is that an Evoker is really combining
I
the
don't
ability
know
to
what to
call
think.
upon the magic of the different
I
aspects
don't know what to
with the
think.
unique physical gifts that a Dracthyr has. The
Not a
ability to
bad
actually
idea.
take flight and do an Onyxia-style strafing deep
just
breath
doesn't
over the
fit.
battlefield, land on the other side,
Like, it's not
knock
it's
everyone
not
back with a
WoW.
wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Yes, please.
No, and
The
I'm not sure
Evoker
about the
has
yes,
two
please.
specializations. They're a hybrid of either range DPS or healer, and they wear mail armor. We figured, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee. We don't need more of those, and also probably don't need any more
Very
leather
good.
wearers.
The raid leaders are going to love you for that.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class.
Very good.
And so that means
least.
that, like the Death Knights before them or Demon Hunters, they will be starting level 58, and then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey into the Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what
Okay,
is
yeah,
going to
sure,
be able
give me
to
that.
identify my
I
Dracthyr
don't know what
character?
to think.
Basically anything and everything. Skin color, hair color, jewelry, tattoos,
Oh, they have a
other
human
adornments.
form.
You can make this character the expression of
kinda
your
cool.
identity in Azeroth.
New zone, new class,
I
new
can't-
race. Well, tell us about some of the system updates.
Goldshire.
and features.
You
Of
know,
course, the
you
new
know.
expansion brings with it new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these deep features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on. And we've heard loud and clear from players that it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving
No
a large
borrowed
part of your
power.
character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at professions.
So with the
Actually
talent revamp
changing
and the arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we
Yes,
shifted
classic
to the
talents were
Mists of
good.
Pandaria style talents and beyond.
And interesting.
A big piece of that was some of just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character. To
We've
make
been
yourself a
saying
bit
this for
better
10
in
years.
some specific way, but also, that sense of hybridity that you could have.
Yes.
That's something that we've
Yes.
largely lost.
Yes.
And so the new talent system avoids directly
Oh,
pitting
Nebura is here.
player power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices, because we know that there's always
Okay,
a
that's
right outcome
cool.
there.
New talents.
And we also understand that there's a lot of strength
Finally,
in
they
the
are doing
flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like
What are
this.
they doing?
So,
You're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp. This is an overhaul. So we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. Now, at the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them, but we want a much better default out-of-the-box
That's
experience.
good. The
for all
UI has
players,
been the
new and
same
old
for
alike.
and can I
25
reduce
years.
elements, remove elements? If I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth,
When it comes to specific
look
elements,
bad.
as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
Okay.
You mentioned professions. I have a critical question about this.
Go on.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
yeah, I knew it.
I don't care about that. Can
Our
you
approach
actually
to
make it good?
professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter.
Well, I've heard
and
that
so
before.
if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can put that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and a skilled blacksmith can come along and make you the weapon of your dreams.
That's kind of cool.
I think we left out one thing, though. You can be a Dracthyr, go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons
Dragon
if not soaring over the lands? And so we're
It's
really
a covenant,
excited
but with
to
dragons.
introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's dynamic, with everything from momentum to dive bombs, the ability to just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that's
very
much
good.
more exciting than traditional flight that we've
Yes,
made
because
available
flying
in
is
the past.
boring.
But that's also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So this is a skill you learn over time, right? To become an awesome
That's
dragon
okay,
rider.
clever. Yeah,
You'll
sure.
be able to sort of
sure.
upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form
bad
of
guy
flight
has to
from
be
the start.
Galakrond.
And the dragon companion that you have
Or the
is,
other guy,
of course,
the other dragon.
very thoroughly customizable, which
Okay,
is
the
a new,
armor.
a new thing for us for mounts.
Okay,
This
the armor
is
is cool.
not just a generic dragon that everyone has, but a drake that is yours. What do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces, and more. Take your pick.
This is so cool.
Customized dragons?
So the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new
not more
continent
zones.
of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Dracthyr class, as well as
There
a
is the
range
other
of systems
chromatic dragon
revamps,
with the head.
such as a new talent system,
That's
an
in the lore.
overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions
He's in
with
Hearthstone.
more depth than ever before.
It's not Galakrond.
Also
it's
getting
the other.
around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a
Okay,
sense
so it is
from
a
the start.
customized.
And of course, as with any new expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information, and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't forgotten about you. You could probably guess where we're going to go next.
Sunwell.
One of the
Lich King.
all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft.
course.
Let's watch the cinematic.
It kind of feels like a bit too standard still. A bit too, not enough, new talents.
Forgotten. Did you think we had
Yeah, I know. No, there is a dragon in Hearthstone. In Hearthstone with the dragons, there is a chromatic dragon with multiple Hydra heads, and each is a different dragonfly.
king yet?
That has to be the villain because that dragon is alive. I love Lich King. Hell yeah.
For all the lives you've stolen.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Ohn'ahran whispered the name Arthas.
See, how I am hyped for this so much more than for
When my
Dragonflight.
days have come to an end,
I'm hyped for this way more.
shall be king.
Yeah, because we know the villain. It's been 10 years since we have last seen the villain of WoW. I think Draenor technically, because in Legion we didn't. And then in
Just
Cataclysm
incredible,
before that.
isn't it? Every time I see
Chromatus.
the cinematic,
That
I
might be-
get
that might be it.
chills. No pun intended, I do. I get chills. As you
Chromatus.
saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
I don't.
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go
I
back to
remember. Push
Cindergosa
Lucas.
as the source?
Thank you for
that
the
was
sub.
the first expansion I played with my youngest son. So I can remember on that platform, black goo.
I
and,
remember when I was
chunks
running
of ice falling
home
off and having to repeat that battle
from
with the Lich King. But
school
when we finally downed him,
so I can
it
jump
was
onto a
such
ship
an
into the
incredible
Borean
moment.
tundra.
He jumped up out of his room and I jumped up out
Because
of
the
my
ship to
office. We're like,
Holyfield was
did it. So it's a very lasting tale for me.
So as you know, with this expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55.
In pre-patch?
You don't have to have a high-level character to make a Death Knight. So everyone will be able to make one.
We're excited to give
everyone.
players some time before Wrath officially launches to get geared up
So
and ready
no
to
level
jump
boosting
in
is
to
needed.
Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore in Northrend, and I want us to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very
That's
special
everyone.
place in my heart. The music was some of the best I've experienced in World of Warcraft.
I still
Storm
make my
Peaks.
way all the way up to Storm Peaks to try and find the time lost proto-drake and have yet to get it.
I got
gotta say
it. I got
Dragonflight.
time lost.
The wide open nature of the zone, Wormrest
the
Temple in the
first
center
3
of it.
weeks
It's
of
an unforgettable
Wrath of the Lich
expansion as both a developer and a player, and kind
I
of
was
making that
15.
transition from one
And I
to the
got
other.
it.
Now let's talk about some changes. So one thing we looked at is Dungeon Finder, and it feels like how we envision Classic, Dungeon Finder is not a good fit for our community.
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric. Now, as people have gone through the experience of going back to vanilla,
Wait,
rebuilding those
no
groups,
Dungeon Finder?
relying on each other,
Wait.
not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
No.
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want
So
that
no-
different experience.
Yes.
Let's
Dungeon
make sure
Finder?
that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listened to the community and we removed
Did I miss
that, 'cause
something?
individual rating is preferable and a better experience for them than arena teams. Also, with Wrath of the Lich King, Barbershop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were not
makes sense.
existing
That's
when
good.
Wrath
Very
launched.
good.
But
Very
also
good.
there's another side of this where we are not going to charge a real money fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right
That's
thing
good.
to do, that just be available in game for gold, and we add more options to it,
That's
right?
very good. That's
Sort
what
of like
retail is
spellbashing
now,
in
and
a
that's actually
sense.
good.
There's a lot of technical advancements, and it's not about the philosophy of what makes classic classic and what brings people together. It's just what's the better experience, and let's not artificially restrict something that we can
Yes.
provide a better version of just for the sake of nostalgia. And we're happy to say this is one of those cases.
So, Wrath, the level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or just
Boost.
explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply it to a Death Knight, but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole
God.
new profession, so we're really excited about that. Yeah, and as we continue this road to Wrath, we're going to be looking to getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
Such an exciting time to be playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for classic fans,
so is that
and
it
taking
for the
us somewhere
reveal?
new with Dragonflight. We're so excited to be able to bring these adventures to you.
But also Sunwell.
Don't forget, there's a
Sunwell
deep
reveal.
dive on Dragonflight where you're going to get a lot more information. Thank you so much
So that's it.
for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
Okay. Oh, deep dive! Oh, deep dive! Okay, there's more.
Hi
there's
there.
more.
Welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive. I'm Steve Denuser.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here,
Taryn
we're going
Gregory.
to talk about the setting and the story of
That's a cool dive.
Dragonflight.
We've got this great expansion, exciting pre-render trailer that everyone just watched. So let's talk about the setting for Dragonflight, the
He's a
Dragon
cinematic
Isles.
guy.
Dragon Isles have been known for a long time in Warcraft history
these
as
are,
a
I
mysterious
don't know. I
place
don't know what
where
it really does.
the dragons came from long ago, but we never knew much more
You're
than that.
right.
We're going to
Wow,
this place
mobile.
that is kind of the broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they
right.
nested, where they built their civilization. The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young and the mortal races were just starting to form kingdoms of their own. But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion of the Well of Eternity, broke the world.
Literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained
was in the
away and the
cinematic,
land
yeah.
went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan Watchers to look over the land. And when someday they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again and draw the dragons home, reestablish their kingdom.
And that's when the message goes out to the flights and they feel it in their bones.
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for Alex Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
No,
We're looking
more-
into the
more
culture of
threats.
dragons as they exist in Warcraft.
Dragons as we know them today were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive, much more savage.
Yeah, that's
what we now know as
that's
proto-dragons.
right there.
And then some of the dragons were empowered to become the aspects.
They
the
were
green
trying
flight,
to
red
revive
flight, blue
Galakrond
flight,
for
bronze
years.
flight, black flight, each with unique powers, each with the ability to protect the world in different ways. These pillars of draconic power appointed to defend Azeroth from threats within and without.
Dragons used that power both for good, in the case of most of the aspects, but also for nefarious reasons in the case of the black Dragonflight led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight is that some of these ancient divisions run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our heroes, our players, to come to the Dragon Isles with them and face some of these reawakening challenges, because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons to return and reclaim it. There's those old enemies that have awakened as well.
They have.
Yeah. One of those being a race of kind of
their power.
elemental
They are just
half-giants,
not
the
immortal
Jarden.
anymore.
The Dragon Isles isn't just populated by dragons or just by the Jarden. There's also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here either just recently or for a while, including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's going to be awesome. We've got other cultures there as well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a civilization of centaurs that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later.
And some of our favorite characters that we've seen over the last few expansions, such as Rathian.
And whether he's ready to step up
I don't know, Rathian
into
is
a
kinda
leadership
like-
role, or if there are other alternatives out there that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the Black Dragonflight.
I think one thing the players are going to be really excited about this expansion is the new playable race, the Dracthyr.
I am very iffy on this.
And this is something that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw
The dragon
those
is where in the raids,
primalists
though.
that were kind of breaking away from the aspects and what they wanted. And so
Rathian
in those
was cool
first
in Pandaria.
experiments, he took
He was
the
good
essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal races had. And he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the Dracthyr. Exploration is really one of the key themes of this expansion. We're going to be going to this ancient place that the dragons left behind long ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked away. It's going to be a lot of fun for players to be exploring these landscapes.
And there's so much architectural history and how clearly aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it lost so much. And the themes of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, you know, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using the Explorers League and the Reliquary together, that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look, you know, upon the Dragon Isles and all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Calicos, along with Rathian, Ebonhorn, with Ysera's daughter Marithra, as each one of them is trying to find their own flight. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just new horizons within this world.
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really feels like just a breath of fresh air.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
Okay. Show me something.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Gary. And we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Ohn'ahran
No,
Plains.
Azure Ghost is classic. Sorry, yeah, Caligos.
The very first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and
like
the elements are just going
Gorgrond.
crazy.
The art team, again, has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a
the art is
lava
always
mountain
good.
flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
WoW is
We have
always
such
good.
rife opportunities
Art
to
is
show
amazing.
elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon
good. That's the
ruin
classic way. I
architectures.
like that.
The boats come right alongside each other.
Boats.
You can
I like
jump
boats.
from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's gonna be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach, so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers, exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking
You get
Shores.
snatched by a death
We have the
knight from
ancestral
the other
home of
ship.
the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles
we
with
are supposed
us.
to be friends,
and he's
by the
gonna
way,
try
yes.
and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few
Now
loyal
we are.
Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma, and when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were
it's a
the
brand new
enemies
made-up
of
enemy.
the Dragonflight for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonflight, hunted dragons down,
Brand
and
new.
they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonflight have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely,
It
but
depends
they
what
want to
you
make
call
sure
a
that they
Dragon
don't
Lord.
have the power to affect those around
My
them
favorite
negatively,
one is
to make sure
Nosdormu.
they don't go on a rampage and destroy
Nosdormu
the
is
ecosystem
badass.
that has been created here.
And so those are awesome things in the Waking Shore. But Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans.
You guys have
in
no
our game.
idea.
We cracked the technology.
There is a
We
guy-
got them.
Figure it out. They can fly.
There is a
This should
guy
be
who
fun.
made a video, and in that video, he made
It's
a
gonna be
joke
awesome.
that there are
Ohn'ahran
no
plains come
ducks
right
in
after
the
the Waking
entirety of
Shores.
World of Warcraft.
It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Ohn'ahran plains are big, wide open plains. And the player
That's
is going to
cool
be
from
constricted
Blizzard.
a little bit, and then you see this big contrast of
cool.
a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot
love
of
that.
the plains.
I think it was Platinum
And
who
then
made the
you
video.
see this giant fire
That there are no
proto-dragon
ducks
breathing fire,
the
and
entire
a herd
20
of
years of
centaur
WoW.
like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like, how cool is that?
Who is Ohn'ahran?
Ohn'ahran is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one who guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took
How
their
did they get there?
caravan
They can't
across, and then
swim?
showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the
How does
culture
a
of the
centaur
centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that, back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually, they realized that we're strong, you're strong. Maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an
That dragon
agreement.
would
You
be
guys hang out in the groves, and the centaur will hang out
Oh, yeah,
in
one
the
zombie
plains.
dragon.
But now, the dragons have been gone for
got
10,000 years.
Nefarian,
And
you
the
know.
centaur have come so far since then.
Yeah,
And they've been
Gallagher's
here,
bones,
and they've been
I
existing and
believe,
developing
were
their
recently
culture. They
removed
all came over as
from
one
Lovecraft.
clan led by the mighty Maruk
might
and
be
Tira,
wrong.
and they founded a new life here. So if
they
you
are
want to
not there
get
anymore.
across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon generations. The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves.
I
And
don't
those
like
groves
green
are
Dragonflight,
absolutely
I don't
gorgeous.
care about them.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy We want to do lots of things with an open plane, and we want to be creative with that. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not.
You're right.
The zones are so big, and you can see so far, especially in Ohn'ahran Plains. So we talked to the engineers, and we actually increased that distance.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts with the Dragonflights. There's missing dragons, there's battles, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but that's not really all we're doing. There's so much extra fun activities for people to do. And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
What problems?
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about. But now, we're gonna have some folks talking about the next 2 zones that players are gonna experience in the Dragon Isles.
I want to see what threat, what challenges, what
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate. I'm Christy. I'm Kate.
I'm Sean. We're going to talk today about Valdrakken and the Azure Span. So Azure Span is going to be the 3rd zone that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done.
Once again, I love the vertical
to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we kept coming back to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills.
Yes.
And we really wanted to take that, but wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been up to the Bay Area, but in the morning, that coastal fog comes in and dips down into the redwoods and that sun shines through. That's really what we wanted to encapsulate with this forest. And not only we have redwoods, we've got all different types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that's just golden and red, and you'll reach up to another level of elevation where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is covered in snow and ice. We have giant frozen waterfalls, ice rivers as far as the eye can see. And Sean, I know in the forest, we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls.
Wait, Atlas
These
Plateau.
Gnolls are all throughout the forest and Azure Span.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
made
that's,
this their
okay,
home.
that's Elden Ring,
Some
right?
Gnolls with strange magic
okay,
that we're going to
cool.
find out what exactly that's about. Snow Gnolls, or as I call them,
New
the
Gnolls,
Snolls,
okay.
up in the winter area, and then some regular Gnolls that are just going to be around the forest areas. And then we go into the big open tundra where we meet our second group, the Tuskar.
It's going to be really neat to explore their culture a lot more. And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime is probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since you've seen them. We remember the Tuskar, the Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool up-res for their models.
I like the bigger
along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids. So we're going to fight alongside them, which includes help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kaligos, our blue dragon buddy from the Kirin Tor, and he's going to be adventuring into Syndragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Valdrakken.
Valdrakken.
It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Valdrakken, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 Dragonflights and home of the dragons. It feels that way with the huge vertical mountains. We've got these great cave systems where you may end up finding little dragon hordes.
My favorite Dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Valdrakken, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options. And we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you can see that the blue Dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green Dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice overhauls if you're looking for more exotic wares.
Okay.
The thing that really sold me on Valdrazus was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure all the way to the city across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water cresting across her wings.
But you're right, the art
so when
before
players
actually
are flying
looked
around
better.
themselves, they get to have their
Roman
Alexstrasza
dragons,
moment.
yeah.
What an incredible place, and filled with so much history.
It is Roman dragons.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakron. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so vertical. I'm just excited to dive off the tops of towers and swoop under things.
It's actually one of the things that we're about to learn about
And it was so good. Guild Wars had unique mounts with unique traveling.
Hi, I'm Jake. I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about the Dracthyr Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only the Evoker, but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake. Okay. I know.
It's fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Dracthyr, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be.
I forgot about
What's unique about it is because the Dracthyr are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 Dragonflights. So Evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one. Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your growth and your nurturing spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell. But it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft, and I think is feeling really, really good.
We have some great animations. Thank you, Andy. Your team.
Love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
In addition to the gameplay, though, another part of feeling draconic is looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
They're
cool.
awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form. And the customization options for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me.
tell
you
us
can
about the
change
color.
This is like
You
this
can do a
is
lot of
DeviantArt
magic.
to do.
So your Visage
Look
form
at it.
can have scales that are
Look
the
at
same
it.
color as your Dracthyr form.
But my favorite,
I have
super favorite
nothing
part
against
of customization
people who
for
like
the
you
Visage
who are
form,
into that.
hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Blizzard knows what they are doing.
We finally did it!
They
As
know what they are
players
doing.
make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles,
but
they'll partner up with the
We all know.
Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And we're talking about something new called dragon riding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes.
We're aiming to shake up movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft. And so we wanted to come up with a movement system that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity, which really adds to the overall kind of immersion and sense of reality.
As players make their way through the Dragon Isles, they'll discover new cosmetic options to fine-tune their Dragon Isle Drake's appearances. Things like
so we are
snoots,
customizing the mounts.
horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and
That's
more.
cool.
Can I have spikes?
Definitely.
Okay.
So we want to provide players
so
with
it's like a
all new
Legion
skills to play
artifact,
with, as those who
but
can
you're
use their
customizing the
momentum
mount.
well
I like this
can
very
reach
much.
higher and
I
higher
like this
heights
very, very,
and
very much.
bring on new, more
Very
difficult
cool,
challenges.
Blizzard, very cool.
We just have so many new, gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. This is gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
I don't care about the UI. UI is kind of like, but talents? That's interesting.
Hello, my name is Brian.
I'm Crash.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share we are finally revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors, and we have better dev tools to work with, so it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years, and if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen in time.
Yeah,
So when we approached this, we wanted to create a layout experience that players
2004,
could customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely
Even though
with our
I am
user
actually
research
using
team
default UI.
to make sure we are hitting the goals that
I'm
our
too
player
lazy
needs.
to set it up.
It allowed us to add new functionality, to improve accessibility in a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the
I
art
told you,
update is a
Goldshire is
big
gonna be
part of
interesting.
this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect the players who really like the current UI,
Goldshire
but
is
do
gonna
more
be-
than take to it.
Yeah.
Removing the clutter and giving more visibility
new
for your
expansion for
gameplay.
Goldshire.
So the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the action bars and the bottom
this
menus,
does look more
they have
modern.
less head frames, and you can really open up
fine with that.
your gameplay, so you don't have a lot of your UI in front of you. And of course, we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD,
Exactly,
but we
you
want
can
to
get
bring it
Bartender
back
and, you
in a
know,
nice way.
and that's it.
So we for sure updating the Griffins.
exactly
They
what
look
it is.
so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. We're going
That's
to have your version as well.
cool.
So let's
That they
talk about the
have
edit
unique
mode.
UI for
We
those.
are putting a mode in that will
like
let players move various HUD elements around on the screen. So I'm able to move the mini-map, say, from the right corner all the way over to the left corner. If I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and kind of put them more in the center by my character, those are all things that I'll be able to do. Absolutely. And each of those different components will have various sets of options that you'll be able to work with. They'll be able to save it, edit it, copy it, name it. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
But, you know,
this is an ongoing project. We're going to keep working on it. So we really want to hear back from you.
UI is
a project that we're all excited about, that we've been collaborating a lot on, something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
It hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before.
That would be a
and
lie.
we really
Final
started
Fantasy
with,
XIV had it
how
after
can we
the
have
relaunch?
players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options.
And after looking at all those things, what we really returned back to was the idea of trees. But it's actually 2 trees. We have a class tree that offer different class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing your role, whether that's damage, tank, or healing.
Can I just jump in and say that I personally am super excited about having trees come back. There's a big nostalgia hit for me.
As we said, we have these 2 trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way.
Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent UI itself.
You have seen that a lot through most recent expansions, but not at the base UI.
We want you to be able to tinker with it. You know, we want you to be able to make a lot of changes at a lot of times and not necessarily have to commit. The power really is coming back to the player. It's not something we want people to feel locked into, and so one of the things that we'll be preserving is the ability to change these talents
it's a cooldown now, right?
at the same kind of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature that lets you create your build, name it, save it, and then load it up very quickly and freely.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them, and please reach out to us and let us know your thoughts on them. And next up, we're going to talk about professions in Dragonflight.
Okay, professions are usually... Friggin' give me fishing from Legion with a legendary fishing pole.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight.
Give me good fishing.
Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to rethink professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
Like fishing.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting orders. If you want to have something crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you, or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone through the public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player.
But it's another step towards this being a single-player game.
Really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them. which is really neat and really
That gives them a lot of
expands
options.
the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
This is also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're going to notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just going to be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
I don't know.
And we're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your professions,
I wasn't
both
actually
crafting and
paying
gathering.
attention.
And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith. You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody's providing something unique and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're going to take those and we're going to put them all in the main city of Valdrakken. And you're going to go in there and you're going to get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're gonna walk into the city and you're gonna see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're gonna see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. There's gonna be a whole new crafting area that's gonna make you feel really part of the world.
It just seems like a much more lively area than it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about, though, is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession, and when you go to, say, mine and node, you're actually gonna just switch into that gear. It's gonna be really great.
You're not gonna have to carry that stuff around in your backpack anymore. There's actually gonna be dedicated slots for each of your pieces of gear.
I like that very much.
I'm a numbers guy. I love progressing. All pieces of profession gear will have those special stats that I mentioned before.
Okay, very good, very good.
And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really gonna help you get better at your profession.
Now there is crafting gear progression.
Thank you for tuning in to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
I like
You've heard a lot about the content and changes coming in Dragonflight, and we've got a lot more in store for you in the coming months.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
Okay, that's it. Okay! I'm glad there is more progression than just gimme gear, more stats. Now there is gimme crafting gear so I can smith better. Okay, why is all the videos Asmon gold?